Welcome back. I recently had the distinct honor of speaking with Bill Kurtis. He has been in broadcast news for many, many years. He was one of the co-anchors on CBS Morning News and also right now works for NPR for Wait, Wait, Don't Tell Me and many more options and things that he's involved in. And right now I had the opportunity to speak with him all about cold case files and why he's focusing a lot of his time and effort on solving cold cases. Let's take a look.
These iconic and acclaimed original true crime classic series returns, Cold Case Files. Today we get to speak to series narrator and acclaimed journalist and newsman, Bill Kurtis. Bill, it's such an honor speaking with you today. How are you?
Well, thank you, Christine. I'm good. I'm good.
So tell me a little bit more about this return of Cold Case Files.
We started a couple decades ago, and we had come across the phrase cold case files in the Dallas Police Department, and that's the old timers in the back room. They had about 3 months to go before retirement, and they just give them the unsolved cases. And they were putting it through the new computer fingerprint machine and some other little tools, and all of a sudden they were getting solutions. So that became 137 episodes of our Cold Case Files series and a vault of content for everybody in the world to go in and tell stories. Well, it turned out to be so popular, A&E wanted to rev it up again. So we're now looking at, I'll soon go in and narrate yet another one. We'll have a first season of 35 shows, and then another one already scheduled. So here is a case that has run its course with the police department. Our first one stopped at our second episode at 2 years. They can't spend all the time and money that's required to stay with it for the rest of your life. But somebody out there will never forget it. The family, the mother, the brother, looking for similar crimes that may be committed by the person who took their loved one. It's a very good way to kind of keep going and keep the case alive without spending the money and the time that a police department has. Then they'll take that clue, if they see it, to the cops, and they will pick it up and solve the case. So all our cases are solved, almost all of them. And that's what turns out to be a very good story. You see the brutal crime, you see the tools and the difficult time in finding the solution, and then you see the solution and the guy going up the river, and that's satisfying.
Oh, it's really fascinating to hear about the origins of Cold Case Files, and I had no idea that so many cases have been solved. That's an incredible rate.
It's quite a rate, and more will go. You know, when we were doing it, DNA had yet to really come of age. There was a little black box, PCR, polymerase chain reaction, that sat on the police lab shelves that not a lot of people knew how to use. It amplifies DNA. Now, the DNA can go beyond that to build a family tree. So the police can follow that tree to leads. What about this guy? Does he have an alibi? What about this guy? Does he have a quarrel with the family? And that actually has been very productive. In addition, you know, you have emails. If you ever get in trouble or go into a lawsuit, go for the emails, because it's a picture into the brain with motive, leads to evidence, and solutions to the crime.
There's quite a few challenges when investigating cold case files. And I'm curious, for you, what made you decide to focus a lot of your time and effort on true crime? And is it ever difficult? Because these are really tragic stories as you navigate these people's lives. Do you ever find it emotionally draining?
Well, our second story was of a young student at Southern Illinois University in Carbondale, Illinois, who was kidnapped, and her body was found in a drainage ditch. I'm just the worst. And that's repeated along the way. But, you know, it's also the storyline of solution that kind of balances out. Yeah, it's hard. Cops find it very, very difficult. And they're like reporters. We're standing on the outside trying to guess what happened in either a fire or a crime or disaster, and don't quite yet have the truth, but time will help. And gradually the facts become clear and we can build the final story, the backstory, if you will. So that's satisfying. I'm a lawyer, passed the bar in 1966. And after 4 trials of the century in 4 years, the company said, "Oh, why don't you go back and anchor some? That's where we really need you in Chicago." So it's been good to be. I'm glad to be back in crime and investigation.
And we're so happy that this series is back. As we head into this big return of cold case files, can you give me any slight information about some of the cases that we will see?
The first one deals with a duck hunter. Michael went out near Tampa in northern Florida to exercise his hobby, and he disappeared. What happened to it? His boots were found, all little clues. The mother didn't give up. And after 17 years, she got a clue and went back to the police and said, "You know, my son-in-law and his wife became, this is the wife of her son, had a relationship." Well, from that relationship, they were able to find an insurance policy that was taken out on Michael's life. I said, "Well, that's it." And of course, that's always the big one. It was $1 million life insurance policy. So the couple that staged the perfect crime was not able to spend the $1 million the insurance gave. That makes for an interesting case. One right now is 62 years cold. It deals with a priest who down the line, told his story to another priest, and that priest finally came forward to say, this sin is not going to be forgiven.
Oh, incredible. I can't wait to tune in and to find out exactly what happens in all of these cold cases. Bill Kurtis, thanks so much for joining us today. Cold Case Files premieres Friday, August 20th at 9 p.m. Eastern Time on A&E. It's been such a pleasure talking with you.
Thank you. Stay watching.